Hey there, everyone. It's Naomi Meredith, and I'm here for another episode of the STEMTech Co show. I am a former classroom teacher turned current K through 5 STEM teacher, and I love helping teachers navigate STEM and technology in their own classrooms. Today, we're going to be talking about how in the world you can get started teaching your students how to use the G Suite tools for education in your room. Now, you might have experimented already with these types of tools, so I'm talking about Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Forms, all of those types of things. And I know when I was in the classroom, I was super overwhelmed. First of all, I had never used Google tools before. I was always Microsoft growing up. So when I first used them, I'm all, oh, this stuff's weird. I didn't really like it at first, but totally had a transformation. I tried them out for myself. I'm literally obsessed. I love how Google can be used in so many ways with kids and for my own personal self. So these are very valuable skills to teach your students. And the good thing about teaching them how to use the Google tools is that they can use them over and over again. So it's not like you're teaching them just like green screen, which is super cool, or stop motion, again, super cool. But with the Google tools, they can build on them for so many different projects and subjects and their own personal creations. So it's awesome because you're teaching them something they can apply in lots of relevant ways. So I have 5 tips today on how you can get started teaching these tools with your kids. So you might be in a position you're starting from scratch, or you just don't think you've taught this well for your kids. So I'm going to tell you what I've tried over the years with my own 3rd graders when I was a 3rd grade teacher, and also when I'm co-teaching in classrooms and in my own STEM classroom. So I've tried this with a lot of kids, like hundreds of kids. So trust me, it's very, very helpful. So whenever you're getting started, it's great to assess prior knowledge of the kids. So it's very easy to assume that the kids know how to use all the tools. However, do not assume with technology. They might know how to play a video game and get onto YouTube super well at home, but when it comes to academic technology, they totally freeze and it's like they don't know anything at all, which can totally happen. That's why you're a teacher, you're going to teach them. So assess prior knowledge. You could do this as like a whole class anchor chart. Like, what do you guys know about Google Docs? Let's say you're teaching them that. And you can make a list, or you could do like a quick check-in, like thumbs up, a little emojis. You can do a little ticket to see what they know. And then again, at the end, what they've learned. So really assess, see where they're at before you start teaching. This will really help to see where you need to start with your lesson and things that you might want to pull a smaller group in, either to extend their learning, which can definitely happen, or you might need to pull some kids aside and go over some skills over and over. So definitely see where they're at. Don't assume they know everything. I have definitely assumed, and doesn't go well. Also, keep that login information consistent. This is really actually with any technology tool. This can actually take the longest part. So when you're first getting started, you might get frustrated because it takes the kids like 20 minutes to log in, and it takes them 20 minutes to log in like for a little while. And that's okay. It's okay. Don't type it in for them. Okay. It's going to take them a long time. Logging in, I think, is one of the steps that takes the longest. And once they are in that lesson, it goes pretty okay, or depending on, it could go great, but keep that logging information consistent. So I always make like an anchor chart that I can refer to. Either I write it or I type it, but it's the exact steps on how to log in, and I'll put a little picture matching that step. So when kids are like, wait, what do I do next? Instead of say, oh, do this, I just point to the anchor chart. They're like, oh, okay. Or I have them ask 3 before me. A big thing with that ask 3 before me is I have the kids who are helping, like, hey, you're the YouTube tutorial. You can't touch their computer for them, but you can explain to that kid step by step. So the goal is for the kids to be independent. They are going to get faster. They will start learning those usernames and passwords. They'll really get faster at it. The more you do it, the better they're going to get. And also, one last thing with the login, make sure that they have their login information in a spot that's accessible for them, and they're not relying on you as a teacher to pass out cards. So I've seen classrooms where the teacher is the gatekeeper of the information and the kids have to wait on the teacher to give them their card. I would flip-flop that and have the login information in a place that's safe, but the kids can get to it easily. So tape it on the inside of a pencil box, have it in their take-home planner. If you are one-to-one, have it, some kids that actually need it taped in their device. So have it in a place where they can access it and they can get the information and they're not waiting on you. You will be very grateful for that. Also use universal icons. So with the Google tools, if once you've used them enough, you notice that a lot of the icons, those small pictures that tell you to do something, repeat over and over in the platform. So they're universal because they do the same thing. So like the undo and redo button, that should be your kid's best friend. Those are used in multiple platforms. So have kids notice those universal icons and know what that does. So even if, again, you make a running anchor chart or the kids can draw the icons in a notebook and what it means, because those icons, again, are in all the Google tools, but a lot of them are also in other platforms as well. So once they start recognizing those universal icons in Google, they will start realizing, oh, these are in websites and other apps I use, and they pretty much do the same thing. So those icons are there for a reason, and they're very, very helpful. We're on number 3, right? Okay, also, number 4, a fourth step, is have explicit baby steps. So meaning, you know how awesome and all the cool things Google can do. And it can seem overwhelming, like, well, I want them to do this, I want them to do that. Trust me, I'm totally like that. But you really have to break it down step by step and go slow. Be very explicit, because those little baby steps, those little baby skills will get them to the big skills. And I know you want to jump into it, but be very explicit. Like click the U with the underline at the top toolbar. Like be very, very explicit as to what they need. And so the kids are used to where navigating the tool, what it does with that universal icon, and where to find it. So be very explicit. And then once the kids start getting more comfortable, then you can do more exploration. But there's so much to jump into. Just getting started, be explicit, do the basics, and you can definitely build from there. Oh, also with being explicit in all the tools, you want to do all of them. I totally get it. You want to, okay, I want them to do this Google Doc and then read this website and do all these things. Really, when you get started with a tool, and I have found more success, you have to slow down and also focus on one tool at a time. So I will usually use the one tool for a week. So if I'm a classroom teacher, even in STEM, I'll do this too. But I focus in on one tool and have them get really good at it. So if it's Google Docs, I'll usually start with Google Docs. Okay, we're going to use Google Docs. We're going to get really, really good at it. And once they are more comfortable with it, with multiple subjects, using it in different ways, then I'll integrate another tool, either if it's a Google tool or another website. So then it might be something they already know. If it's not something they already know, I'll back up. We'll use that one tool again, and then we'll mash it up together. So it's really, again, I get very excited. I want the kids to do all the things. But when you have them be really good at one thing, slowly add in those other things, and they will be amazing at it. And they'll make those connections and be able to fluidly navigate all of those. So those are my tips for getting started with Google. And now if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how, this is great. How do I have the time to break this down? Well, I already broke it down for you. So I have created Google Tools Scavenger hunts for the 4 main Google tools, and then there are more to come, but there's hunts for Google Docs drives, forms, and slides. So those are your good base of Google tools, and like I said, more to come. But in these Google Tools Scavenger hunts, I have created pre-assessment, helping kids understand what the tool does as a general sense, seeing where they're at, and then also little hunts, little basic skills that are broken up that build off of one another so they can be proficient at that tool. So it's great. You could just do one hunt. You could do one hunt per week. It's really great for collaboration. So even if they're across from each other, they can help each other out. But this is really great for 3rd grade and up. There is a lot of reading. There are some updates to come to help support that, but this is already done for you. You can edit the hunts if needed. And also in my store at the time of this recording, it is December 28th. So these hunts are on sale in my store, 20% off from today, December 28th, 2020, till December 30th. And you can grab this for your classroom, try something new. You could reteach it. It's okay to reteach a skill, but then you will have kids that are proficient and on their way to be Google Masters. So if you need to find anything that I talked about or all the notes to this presentation, you can find this and the link to the hunts at naomimeredith.com/Google Tools. I'll also link everything down below for you to find it. And again, you can always email me. I never know where to point if you watch many of these, but you can email me at contactnaomimeredith@gmail.com or even find me on Instagram, send me a message at NaomiMeredith_. Thank you so much for coming to this other episode of the STEMTech Co show, and I can't wait to hear all about the successes in your classroom. I'll talk to you soon.